Good afternoon and welcome to another video. As you can see behind me, the sun is shining, unfortunately, but we're next to this little river. This is a tributary of the Avon. This is the Warwickshire Stour. Come back here this afternoon for a few hours. It's about 2 o'clock now. We can fish into dark. There's no night fishing on here, but we fish just into dark. That's not a problem. Just to see what we can catch. It's been flooded. It's been in the fields again. It's dropped off very, very quickly. It's quite a nice colour. It's about 6 inches, 4-6 inches of visibility, something like about that much. And it's a sort of browny green colour. I'm not sure how well we're going to do with this big sun up there. I did hope to catch this river a bit higher than this because I did fancy a big roach. But it's still a reasonable colour. It's not like oxtail soup, which is generally when the big roach come out. But if we fish into dark, who knows? Right, the plan is my standard usual approach. What I've done is I've bought some worms, because the worms are always great when the river's coming off a flood. And also, grab it, I've got some bread. And I've got some mashed bread. I've got a bag that's been in the freezer. Some mashed bread there, just mixed with some frenzied hemp, just to get a little bit of smell into it. A little bit of extra smell as the river's carrying a bit of colour. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm at the top of the stretch at the moment. I'm going to bait, say, 3 swims up here. We'll have a go at them and then we'll move down to the bottom of the stretch, bait a few swims, have a go down there. I think we'd be better off finishing off down there. So first off, I'm going to bait the swim behind me. If we get out of the way, there's a bit of cover here, as you can see. We'll get, as I say, we'll get a few swims baited. I've got 3 in mind, and then we'll have a little crack for an hour. It's really, really blowing today. Really windy. Right, I have to be a bit careful here. It's very soggy. Just put a bit of mashed bread mixed, as I say, with this bit of frenzied hemp. We'll just put a bit in there, not too much. We're going to do another couple of swims and then we'll come back and see if there's any hungry fish around. So we've got a bit of a confluence here between 2 bits of river, forming that slack over there, which historically, prior to this year, has been quite good. This year it's been pretty rubbish, to be honest. I think I had 1 fish out of it this year. We'll get a bit of this in, a bit of smell. Now, I don't know if you can see, but under those trees, a massive raft is collected, which we can't get to fish. There's no way to get a rod in here. But I'm going to drop a bit of bait out. It's just a nice steady flow under there. We'll just drop a bit of bait out in front. It's worth a go. We can drop a bait in next to that tree and just to let it sort of trundle along a little bit next to that branch in the water I'm talking about. Probably worth a go here. Never fished here before. Right, last one for now is this bit of cover here, which I've had a chub from when I was trotting. A bit of flow under there. I'm not sure how much of this bait's going to stick around, but you'll have them on the lookout at least, hopefully. Right, that will do for now. That's 4 to have a go at. That'll take us an hour, and then we'll have a go a bit further downstream. We'll repeat the process. Gear wise, I've got my Dower power mesh, 12-foot, £1.25 test curve rod. This is a twin tip, power mesh twin tip. I've got the quiver tip top section in, obviously with the quiver tip fitted. I've got my standard running ledger rig on here, which is nice and adjustable. You can adjust the length between the hook and the feeder very easily. You can also switch over to a lead or a link ledger or something very easily as well. Good to be versatile and adjustable when you're fishing lots of different swims. Where there's a bit faster water, I'll probably want quite a long tail, well, relatively long for this sort of fishing, maybe 18 inches, something like that. If we're fishing a slack, will probably go much shorter, so the bait's right by the feeder. Her feeder is a Preston plug-it feeder. It's quite slack on the inside here, so there's a bit of flow, but not too much. I'm going with a 20 gram. Of course, we've got a chance of roach and chub by fishing bread, as we have with worms. Bread is just so visible, especially in this coloured water. Right, we have to put up with that sun for now. Right, let's not go too far under first off. There we go. Right, eyes on the tip. It's just a nice raft under there. There's a bit of flow going under there as well. Give it 10 minutes. I think we'll know within 10 minutes if we're going to get a bite or not. Get any indication. Now my plan is to get out tomorrow as well. We're due an overcast day tomorrow. So I do plan on getting out tomorrow as well. I think the fishing will be better tomorrow. The river will have dropped a little bit more. With the overcast conditions, I think we stand a good chance of having some fish. We'll try a different stretch tomorrow as well. I think we'll try and do a similar thing, come out in the afternoon, fish just into dark. But with this sun out, we may struggle unless we can drop right on fish, like perhaps under some cover like this. I think we're gonna struggle. Right, with baited swims, it generally doesn't take too long to get a bite if you're going to get one, so I'm not going to hang about. We'll move on. So, absolutely nothing doing so far. However, I've bumped into an angler I've bumped into before who watches the videos. We're just having a chat. Just having a chat about trotting, actually. And what I'm going to do is try in this headwind to get some bait out over there. Doing a very good job at the moment. Got a real big headwind here. This might be a good place to have dusk in this swim. There's a bit of a slack over there, as you can probably see. I'll bait a few more up and then we'll perhaps work our way back up to here. I think that's probably a good idea. So, I've baited up a few spots, but I'm quite surprised how low this river is so quickly. This would have been much better yesterday, I think. I couldn't get out yesterday, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, really. It just dropped very, very quickly. It's going to be up again before too long though. Yeah, looks like we've got some reasonable amount of rain tomorrow night, so yeah, it looks like it'll be up again. It's probably not a bad thing, to be honest, looking at it like it is now. I mean, it's going to mean we can't do any trotting, which is a shame. It's going to push the Avon back up, which is just it's just getting down to a reasonable level again. We're just starting to. Still very high and brown, but it's within its banks again. Right, I thought we'd have a lot more water in this swim than we have. We'll drop that in there. Bit of a floodwater swim, this one. Just drop that in. right next to that cover, and it's ended up under the rod top. I don't think we'll give it too long here. Well, that was a proper bite. Fully expected to connect then. Let's give a little stabby little strike though. Now, once again, hedging my bets with choice of hook size. Got size 12 on here. It's a reasonably big 12 though, because I do want to catch some roach if there are some roach about, but decent sized roach. Let's just make sure alright, we're in. Look at that. I grabbed it and just sat there. Cool, is that a nice roach? What was I saying about wanting to catch a nice roach? It's not. What on earth is that? I didn't wonder what that was then. He must have just sat there. I had a few knocks and nothing. I thought it was a bit weird. We hadn't had a bite. It looks so pale. Of course, the river's been up, hasn't it? Is it a chublet? It is a chublet. I thought it was for dace for a minute. Well, careful. There we are, look. Sort of getting those knocks off. And he certainly wolfed that down. I was just thinking, I need to check if I've still got some bait on here. And I hadn't. I had a fish on. I like this swim. Bit of depth down there under that tree. I think I'm going to have one more cast in here. I might come and have a go at this in a bit when it starts to get dark. Right, next up, swim. I'm just going to fish down to this bit of cover here, this tree that you can see. Be fishing out in the flow, so I'm just going to extend the length of the hook link again to drop the bait a bit lower below the feeder, so it's a bit of flow in here. There's often a raft next to that tree, but it comes and goes, and it's not there at the moment, unfortunately. Check that out. 15 or 20 minutes in here. I've not put any bait in here purely because it's just rattling through. So I've not pre-baited because it's not going to stay in the swim anyway. I'm going to throw a bit in now upstream and just let it disperse in the water column. Hopefully get a bit of smell into the water. Let the fish know that there's something about. And hopefully they'll home in onto the feeder and the hook bait. Right. Well, that was a proper bite. Great. That was a nice bite. That was. Oh, we can get out of the reeds. Yeah, that was a proper bite. I'm just going to bring this round a bit. So we can put a bit of a better strike in. Well, that's promising. Possibly a smaller fish. It's a little bit rattly. We've certainly pulled the quiver tip around a decent amount. Not got a great strike here. We've got all these bits in the way, which is this tree by the looks of it, but I don't want to start smashing it all down. We've got enough room to poke the rod through. Well, I find that very strange that we had a decent clang on worm and now nothing at all. Can't get a bite. Can't buy a bite. It's very strange. Switch back over to bread before we make a move. Right, one more cast on bread. Yeah, we had a big clanging bite on worm and then it stopped. Got mugged. And then nothing else. Very bizarre. I say we'll have one more cast. Bread. Just see if we've got any chub interested. And then we'll have a move, I think. Really thought we were going to do alright in here. This looks a bit more promising. I was going to make this the last cast, but I think maybe I won't. This looks more promising. It's a slower bite. There we go. Cool. I thought that was a bit more promising. Nice slow bite. Finally. It feels a reasonable fish as well. Going to make this the last cast as well. God, it does feel like a reasonable fish. Putting up a cracking fight. Just trudging about in the middle of the river. God, no monster at all. Nowhere near as big as I thought he was. Well, there we are, in the late afternoon sunshine. As I say, nowhere near as big as I thought he was, but still very happy to have caught him. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to make that the last cast. But we can't go just yet, can we? Worth giving it a little bit longer, I think. We'll give it another 5 or 10 minutes in here before we move on. Gives me a bit of confidence that there's a few bites to be had. No coincidence, I don't think that sun is starting to go down. Just gives these fish that little bit of extra confidence to get out in the water, have a bit of a munch. Can't imagine we'll have another bite in here, but you never know. Worth 5 minutes to find out. Blimey. It's just going cold very quickly. No, nothing else doing that. I think we should have a move. We'll get this fella back. We'll have a move to the last swim. Nicely recovered. Right you go, chap. Gone. Blimey, it's getting cold. Right, we're going to have a go in that slack over there, which is not being very slack at the moment, but it's relatively slack anyway. It's often good for a bite. fish, I think, finish off in here. Fish just until it's dark. It's going to be certainly our best chance of a bite today. I think with this bright sun, I think I'd prefer if there's about another 6 inches on here. Looking at this swim, about 6 inches more height on the river. I think it would be that much more coloured as well. There's a better chance of a nice roach. But we're going to play the hand we dealt. See how that does. See whether we can hold with that or whether we need 2 ounces. The advantage of finishing off in here as well is be able to see that quiver tip up against the sky for longer. Yeah, I'm surprised how boily that water is over there. It keeps boiling up. It's not ideal at all. We'll give it half an hour in here. We did put a bit of bait into this left-hand spot as well, didn't we? We'll soon know, I would think, whether we're going to get any interest. Hopefully you can see that rod tip up there against the sky. Yeah, some fish there. Right, there we go, look. God, I should do it that way, shouldn't I? That was really rapid. Go on, and again. Well, we're fishing bread, so we've probably been mugged. God, it's a funny, very quick, clangy bites, weren't they? I would guess we've been mugged. Well, we haven't been mugged. Certainly some fish over there. Just moving away from that, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it. The water there, where it's boiling up. I've just cast just to the right. I'm going to bite straight away. Right, we'll try that again. That went a little bit too far left. We'll leave it. Well, a clang. A couple of times we've had clangs over there. To be honest, I'm not even convinced it's anything particularly big. Like the sort of clangs you get off a chublet to me. Well, it's gone very quiet. I think we'll have one more cast. We've had a couple of proper knocks in here, as you've seen. It's don't know. Gone very quiet now. That also tells me it's smaller fish. They do tend to go off it a bit, don't they, when it gets dark? The smaller fish. And it's really not very warm, that here, I have to say. think it was going to be quite this cold. Right, we're in. Can you believe it? We're in. After all that, we just cast in. Well, he's no monster. Hopefully you see what's going on. It's getting a bit dark. Well, it's getting a lot dark. Sure, it's a chub. This the looks of it, and not a particularly big one again, but very welcome nonetheless. We've got it. Wonderful. He's not a bad fish at all. That's been hard going today. That's been hard going. Right, we'll try and have a look at this fella. He's pretty lively. How's about that? It's a lovely fish, isn't it, to finish off with? Really pleased about that. Wonderful stuff. Absolutely cracking. Worth sticking out in the end. Fantastic. Right, we will get him straight back. I'll get him back in there. Give him a second just to get his breath back. There we go. Off you go, chap. Fantastic. Well, that's him gone straight back, and I shall be heading off now. It's got dark. There's just a tiny little bit of light left in the sky, but tricky old session as expected, really, with the drop in the water temperature and the clear sky, but thoroughly enjoyable, I must admit, and much better day in store tomorrow before the rain comes. So I shall be out again on this river, a bit further down on a different stretch. But we'll intend on doing that tomorrow, so that should be for the next video. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling. Many thanks to the channel patrons for your wonderful support, and I'll see you again hopefully tomorrow.